Now I will be talking the topic consciousness as taught in the Bhagavad Gita. This is the last lecture of today's knowledge fest, Jnana Yajna. So first of all, we have to know why you are concerned about Bhagavad Gita. Why Bhagavad Gita is so important to teach us about consciousness. First of all, it is the wisdom of Lord Sri Krishna. He is one of the main avatara of Sri Vishnu. So, Bhagavan, Lord Sri Krishna is teaching us about consciousness. Second one is that it is one of the pillars of Prasthanatraya. What is Prasthanatraya? It is the sources of Vedantic knowledge. There are three Prasthanatrayas are there. One is that Vedanta, second one is the Gita, and third one is Brahma Sutra. So now we are dealing with Bhagavad Gita. It is one of the main sources of our Vedantic knowledge. And Vedanta, it has the essence of all the knowledge. And Vedanta means that Upanishads, and it is the essence of Veda. And Bhagavad Gita is the essence of that Upanishad. So if somebody is just learning Bhagavad Gita or practicing it, that means he is practicing Veda. And Veda dictates the religious life of our Hindu or Sanatana Dharma. So what is the essence of Upanishad? The essence is Jiva Brahma Aikya. Jiva means individual soul. There is a consciousness that adjunct of that our transcendental consciousness that is called that Dehi or that Kshetragya, that is called individual soul or Jiva or Jivatma. So essentially it is one with that Paramatma, and here Paramatma means that the transcendental consciousness. So essentially individual soul is no other than the transcendental consciousness. So this is the essence of Upanishads, and as Gita is the essence of Upanishads also. So whatever we can learn from Upanishads, we are getting it from the Gita, and it is told by Bhagavan Sri Krishna. And next one is that it teaches the techniques to realize the supreme consciousness, and the techniques are called yoga. Simply, we don't know how to realize the transcendental consciousness, even how to realize the Jivatma, how to realize the Paramatma Ishvara, and third one, how to realize the transcendental reality. There are three levels for which we can strive for in our spiritual life. And next one is the Bhagavad Gita is an instructional manual that deals with how to live a life from higher consciousness and solve the problems of our individual life. So it is not simply a theoretical study. It is not simply that we want the liberation after death as a Vidya Mukta or Jivan Mukta. That may be one of the goals. But it can also solve the problems of our life. That means if we know what consciousness is, we can have that power, or we can empower our life in such a way so that we can deal our life in a fruitful way. Next, why people are interested in conscious study. So first one of all is that to solve their personal problems. And what are the personal problems? It is related to disease or wealth, etc. Generally in Gita, it is told that Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukriti norjuna artha jigasurartharthi gyanicha bharatarsava. Whatever I am telling, that reference are given for that one. Here Viji means that Bhagavad Gita, and 7 means that is the chapter number, and 16 is the sloka number. And everything is written in Devanagari, a script. So I will be just reading it out, so no problem. So he's mentioning that 4 classes of people, they used to worship God. And here God means that is the consciousness. Consciousness means it is transcendental consciousness. It means it is also that the cosmic consciousness. It also means that it is the Pratyagatman or the Sakshi Chaitanya. It is residing in the Jiva. So people are worshipping. Every people, whatever they are doing, in fact, they are worshipping God. and they are trying to achieve him, whether they know it or don't know it. Consciously or unconsciously, everybody is heading towards the consciousness or God. Why? Because everybody is striving for Ananda. And they are striving for Ananda that is reflected in the world. They are not knowing what is the source of that Ananda. Upanishad tells that all source of Ananda or bliss is in that consciousness. There is no other sense of source of Ananda. So people, they don't know where from, what is the source of Ananda. So they try to get it from the worldly things. So they are also striving. So the first of all, people want to get Ananda in the form of wealth, or some are afflicted, Artha. Artha means the afflicted persons. So they want to get rid of diseases. So they used to just pray to God. And next one is that Artharthi. Artharthi means they want wealth. And third one is the Jigyasu. Jigyasu means they are seeker, they seek knowledge, especially the intellectual people. And last one is the Gyani, that man of knowledge. They also used to worship God. They strive to know what consciousness is. So 4 types of people are there. So those who are striving to get something from God regarding worldly matters, apart from knowledge, is the Artha and Artharthi. So they solve their personal problem. The second point is that to know consciousness which is associated with the worldly affairs and apply that knowledge to improve the quality of life. Generally, scientists used to do it. Generally, the cognitive scientist and the neurobiologist, whoever maybe there, then the quantum physicist, they want to know what consciousness is, simply knowledge for knowledge's sake, and how to use that knowledge to improve the quality of life, not personal life, but the lives of the whole humanity. So this is the second point. And third point is that some people are there, they are not happy with the previous goals of life. These are also called the Purusartha, that goals of life. So they are not happy with those things, that Kama, Artha and Dharma. So they strive for something more, and that is called that moksha, liberation, or immortality. So these are the either Gyani, they have already realized, or that spiritual aspirants. They are striving to get that knowledge. Here in Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter, 13.12, it is said that Geyam Nata Prarakshami Yajgatvam Amritam Asnute. So everybody wants to know something about the worldly affair or something else, but that Geya, that knowable, which can give me immortality, is that the knowledge of consciousness. So it is the highest knowable. So the highest Purusartha is this one, the consciousness. We are also, we the monks, we are just striving to know that consciousness, to get that Amrita, the immortality. And it is called Atma Jnana also, it is called Moksha also. And other people, they are striving for something else, worldly affairs, and Veda is permitting that one. And the consciousness study, etc., that also helps to improve the life. If somebody know the self, they will be a better person. They will be an empowered person in terms of their physical body, in terms of their pranic body, in terms of their mental body, in terms of their intellectual body. So they can master over the Prakriti. So they can enjoy life, they can feel fulfillment, whatever may be their goal. And next, what is consciousness? That is very important. Some definitions should be there. The problem is that the consciousness cannot be defined. But somehow Veda, that is the verbal testimony, that is called Shruti also. It tells that pure consciousness that is not associated with the Prakriti, means the inner world. There are two principles, especially in our Sankhya Yoga. That is, one principle is called Purusha, that is consciousness, and second principle, that is the Upadana Karana of this world, which is, that is the Akas and Prana, which makes this whole manifold the world. In Gita, you'll be finding that though it is a text of Advaita Vedanta, but it also influenced by it takes lots of idea, especially the idea of that Purus and Prakriti from the Sankhya Yoga. So what is consciousness, pure consciousness, transcendental consciousness, or it is called that non-dual Brahman. Para Brahman, there is no duality. So how can you know? You can know consciousness when there is no duality. It cannot be the knowledge of your mind, because mind can know something when there is duality. Mind can know something by objectifying it. So it is super sensuous, senses, our eyes, including the mind and other senses also. With that, you cannot able to objectify that consciousness, pure consciousness. So it is not an object of knowledge and without beginning. So in Bhagavad Gita, it tells that Anadimat Param Brahma Nasat Na Asat Uchyate. So it is Anadi. There is no Adi. Prakriti also it don't have any Adi. And in Vedanta, that Prakriti is called Maya, and it is the power, Shakti of that Brahman. So if Brahman is Anadi, Prakriti is also Anadi in some sense. Sometimes it manifests, sometimes it don't manifest. But it is Anadi, and it is called Param Brahma, Para Brahma. Okay, so there is some Apara Brahma is also there, the inferior Brahma that is attached to Prakriti. That means it is the limited adjunct of our that non-dual consciousness. So it is na sat, na asat. Sometimes we see some object with our senses and we tell that it exists. Okay, that is sat or being, that is called sat. So it is not sat, means you cannot able to know it with your senses, with your mind, with your other senses, your intellect. You cannot able to know it. And what does it mean? It does not exist. If something is not existing, that means it is not perceived by our senses, means so it is not there. Generally, we try to conclude like that, because the world we see, it exists, and if you don't see something, seeing does not mean that we are seeing with your bare eyes only or senses only. Even with instruments also, if you cannot able to see microbes with your naked eye, but you can see it through microscope, you can objectify it. But that Parabrahma is such that you cannot objectify with that microscope or telescope or something else. So generally the tendency of our mind is that, so it is not there. So consciousness is not there. Then it's still asat. It is not that it's not there. You will be finding that in Kena Upanishad, it is mentioned that na tatra chaksur gacchati na vag gacchati na manah na vidmo na bijaniyo ataita danushishyat tad vidita dado abhidita dadi. It is different from vidita, known. It is different from adidita. It is above vidita, above abhidita. Okay, that means that what does it indicate? It indicates that you cannot objectify that consciousness or Brahman with your mind. So don't try to objectify it. If you objectify it, you just losing your time, wasting your time. So then what are the other characters? Brahman cannot be just taught by any teacher. Even Veda or Upanishads, they cannot able to teach you, make you realize Brahman directly. They show you the path. And Brahman can be realized with aparaksha anubhuti. Aparaksha anubhuti means that you have to go beyond mind and you have to become Brahman, and then you can able to realize it. Yan manasa na manute yena ur manomatam tadeva brahma tam vidhi nedam jaidam pasate. If you are thinking that this one is Brahman, that one is Brahman, that means you have known very little aspect of that Brahman. Of course, that is Brahman, but that is Brahman with some adjunct, with some limitation, with some upadhi. Yadi manna se subedeti nattam vedya यदि मन्य से सुबे देती तब्रमेवापि नूनंतम वेत्थम ब्रह्मन रूपम यदसत्तम जदसत् देवसत्तनु मीमांसमेवत मन्यभीतम. If you are thinking that I have known Brahman, that means you have known Brahman as a part of your body mind, or as a part of some as some devata. You are seeing some rupa, that form of some devata. So that is not actual Brahman. That will not give you mukti. That will give some empowerment. That will expand your consciousness, but it will not make you infinite. It will not make you unlimited, and that is our goal. So Brahman is there, but it cannot be objectified. So how can what are the other way by we can know that what Brahman is? That in the Bhagavad Gita 13.12, it is told that it is na sad na asad. So there is a chance that people will think that it is not there. So it is telling that that sarvata panipadam tat sarvata kshirimukam sarvata sutima loke sarvabhritta tishtati. So it is giving that it is present everywhere. Wherever there are ear, wherever there are senses, that means it is due to Brahman. And sarvendriya gunavasam, sarvendriya vivarjitam, asaktam sarvichya, nirgunam gunabhatricha. So these are all indicators that sarvendriya gunavasam. So Indriya is there. Indriya is expressing his action. It is due to that Brahman itself. But it does not have an Indriya. It does not have any part. Okay. Next is asakta. Asakta means it is unattached. And it is sarva vichaiva. It is sarva vit is supporter or the substratum of all. And it's nirgunam, without any guna. You may take it as characteristics, you may take it as that guna means satparajatama. 3 gunas are there. That is the constituent principle of Prakriti, which makes the world manifested world. So it is not having any guna, but it is supporter or the knower what is going on. So it is guna bhaktricha, it is supporter or perceiver of the alities or gunas. Then what are the other aspects? Achchedyam adajyam aklodhyasya evacha nitta sarvagata sthanu acholayam sanatana. So it is told that Brahma is without any avayava, without any part, so you cannot cut it. So it does not have any effect or influence of that 5 elements, earth, water, air, fire, etc. Because it is the cause of them. It is the cause of them. So achchadyam adajyam, it cannot be burnt. Then akladya, it can be moistened, and asosya, it cannot be dried. But it is nitya, it is eternal, it is sarvagata, it is present everywhere, it is pervading everything. If something is, for example, inert, we think that Brahman is not there, Brahman is there. That means we classify something as inert, something as having that prana, we call it prani. Life principle is there and somewhere life principle is not there. That is due to the reflecting medium. Wherever antakarana is there, so consciousness is reflected, and we see that particular thing as that that jiva or jivatma. And where it is not there, the antakarana is not there, it is not that chidavasa, that light of consciousness is not reflected there. So we are just referring to that as inert principle or inert object. But that Brahma is sarvagata, everywhere. So it is the substratum on which everything is there. For example, if you are seeing a movie, some screen is there on which you are seeing that something is going on. Maybe fire, maybe rain, something is going on, but it is not affected. And every inert object there in the movie or the movie objects, all are just happening on Brahma. And Brahman is consciousness. And sthanu, it is stable, so it is not changing, and acholayam, it is not moving, and it is sanatana, it is ancient, it is not created. Something which is having birth, it is also having some death. So it is sanatana, it is always there. So these are the indication lakshana by which we have to reach the that particular person. But these are not consciousness. So that finger that is showing you that moon, that finger is not the consciousness. So these are the some indicators which shows that which direction we have to go. So it is not object, it is eternal subject. and it is unmoving, it is present everywhere, it is untouched by the gunas, but it is just a supporter of the gunas, and Prakriti is doing something, and it is behind that is as a substrate, and it is supporting. And you have to reach, if you want to know that, you have to reach that principle, which is beyond your senses, beyond your mind. So it is higher or superior than the creation. So Uttama Purusastana Paramata Tudaita Yolakatrama Vishya Vivartabhya Iswaraha Yasmasar Maditoham Aksaradapi Chottama Atosmi Loke Vedacha Pratita Purushottama. So this Purusattama, Uttama Purusa, which is higher than the Prakriti, means that manifested world, and unmanifested Prakriti, the Maya Sakti, it is beyond that one. So it is called Iswara. So Isana Sila, which is controlling everything in this world. It is called Iswara. So it is beyond Prakriti, it is beyond the unmanifested Prakriti, manifested Prakriti and unmanifested Prakriti, both are there, and it is beyond that, it is superior to that one. Generally, with science, we try to know about that manifested object. And with some thinking power, or with some higher level of quantities like that, so we can approach to that unmanifested one. But it is very difficult to know also. Abhyakta Prakriti is very difficult to know. It appears as a void, but Brahman is not void, it is beyond that. Whatever void is there, whatever manifestation is there, all are happening in the substratum called that consciousness or Parabrahman. So in Gita, it is mentioned that the consciousness, it is having two prakritis or nature. One is Apara Prakriti and another one is Para Prakriti. So Bhumirapo Nalo Vayu Khammano Buddhi Revacha Ahankara Mitiyame Bhinna Prakriti Ashtadha. Ashtadha Prakriti means that is the created world. In fact, in Sankhya Darshan, it is mentioned at the Abhyakta Prakriti, then Mahat, then Ahankara, and then that Manas, and then Pancha Gyanendriya, Karmendriya, and that Pancha Tanmatra is there, and then Pancha Mahabhuta, 5 elements is there, then subtle, that the cause of that one is there. So all the manifested and unmanifested things in this world, in this universe, is called that Apara Prakriti. Okay. And Apare Mitastonam Prakritim Vidyame Param Jivabhutam Mahavaho Aedam Dharjate Jagat. So another principle is there, which Tat Sishtva Tadevanu Pravisata. It is in Shruti, in Upanishad, it is told that after creating this world, he has entered that one. In figurative sense, it is told like that. That means that life principle, which is holding the whole Prakriti, it is that the consciousness principle. That is the higher Prakriti, that is the Para Prakriti, is called the Kshetragya also. So our whole body can be considered as that Kshetra. The whole body, in Gita 13th chapter, it is told that whole body is that Kshetra. It consists of the 5 elements. It consists of the that mind, Ahankara, Buddhi, then Tanmatra, everything will be finding here in this Prakriti. And that is called the Apara Prakriti. And another Prakriti is called Para Prakriti, and that is the life, we call life principle or consciousness. That is the individual souls, and that sustain that life also and the universe also. Davyama Purusa Loke Ksharak Shakshara Evacha. Kshara means which is just perishable, Akshara means which is not perishable, and Kshara means this the created universe. Akshara means that Maya Sakti Abhyakta Prakriti. Kshara Sarvani Bhutani. The whole Bhuta, whole manifested world is called Kshara, and Kutosta Akshara Uchate, which is not mutable. That is Akshara. And that is that Maya Sakti Triguna, that is the Abhyakta Prakriti. Generally, without Jnana, you cannot able to just destroy anything in this world, because everything in this world is made of 3 gunas, and destruction means you can return those things into their karana, into their cause, and that is the 3 gunas. So it is called Aksara. And Uttama Purusa Anya. So Uttama Purusa, so that is Anya, apart from these 2 Purusha, Paramatma Udarita, Yolokatra Vishya Vivartabhya Iswara. So it is called that Iswara also, he just entered the 3 world, and it is supporting, it is a substratum, it is supporting the whole world, and it is called Paramatma. So here we are just just looking after that Paramatma, which is beyond this manifested universe and unmanifested universe. We have to go that one, and that cannot be objectified, and that is the eternal subject. And the next level of consciousness that is mentioned in our Gita, that is called the cosmic manifold consciousness, that is Vishwarupa. That is told in Gita's 11th chapter, and also that Vibhuti Yoga, the 10th chapter, it also mentions that way that consciousness manifested itself as the world objects. So we have to remember that consciousness is one, and that is non-dual. And here we are talking about next level of consciousness, is called Upadhi, or the limited adjunct. And for example, if you want to know light, in previous lecture somebody also said that example, that in vacuum, if light is there, you cannot see anything. You can see it simply black. At night, for example, if no stars are there and moon is also not there, you will see that the sky is black. It does not mean that light is not there. Put the moon there, immediately you will be seeing the light there. And the moon that is emitting light, it is not the light of its own. It is the light of that sun only. So sunlight we are receiving via moon as moonlight. So this cosmic consciousness, Vishwarupa, that is called Ishvara also, or the Virat Hiranyagarbha or Ishvara, it is told like that in Vedanta. So it is that limiting adjunct of that non-dual consciousness. So it is receiving the Chidabhasa, or light of consciousness, from that that is only one source of that Satchid Ananda, that is the light of consciousness, and that is the non-dual Brahman or Parabrahman. So when it is reflected in Saguna Brahma, that is the cosmic consciousness, and we are seeing that every of our thoughts, every object, when it is acting, when it is taking the limited adjunct as that physical object, cosmic physical object, that is called Virat. When it is taking as that limited adjunct as that subtle bodies. Subtle bodies means our that pranamaya kosha, manomaya kosha, and vijnanamaya kosha. Okay, that is the prana, then the mind and the intellect. And when the cosmic level of the subtle bodies are called Hiranyagarbha. Like that, in our body also, we are present as the physical body, that is called Vishwa, and this level of consciousness, this level of ego is called Vishwa, and as the dreamer is having separate ego. We are having separate ego when we dream, and that is called Taijasa, and when we are going to deep sleep, it is called Prajna. In this individual body also, 3 levels are there. Okay, so in the cosmic body also, the cosmic body of our consciousness, that Vishwarupa of that consciousness, it is also having 3 levels. That is the physical level, that is called Virat, and that Sukshma level or the subtle level, that is called Hiranyagarbha, and the Karana Sarira, the causal body, it is called Iswara. So this individual, that particular body, may be physical, maybe subtle, maybe the causal, it is part of that Vishwarupa. So every bhava is there in the Vishwarupa, and we are only part of that one. For example, ocean is there. So ocean is that the cosmic manifold consciousness. There are several, for example, that waves are there, and every individual is part of that wave. We are part of that one. So cosmic manifold consciousness is there, and Bhagavan, Lord Sri Krishna, he just showed Arjuna this Saguna Brahma with Guna. Guna means 3 gunas, Sattva-Raja-Tama. And here in case of Vishwarupa, generally Sattva-Guna predominates. So it is having highest level of power, highest level of understanding. And so every power is there in Saguna Brahma, every thoughts are there, he thinks, and everything is created. So that level of power he is having. But he is also just residing in the heart of every being as a Pratyek Atman, as pure Atman. and is the cause of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of all being. Ahamatma Gurakesa Sarvabhuta Sasitaha Ahamadischa Madhyancha Bhutanamanta Evacha. So he is the Adi, Anta, and Madhya. See the beginning, the middle, and the end of all the Bhuta, all the objects, all the beings. And he is just residing in the heart. So you cannot find any object without that consciousness. Consciousness is present everywhere. So aham sarvasya prabha matta sarvam pravartate. So everything is coming out. The whole world is coming out from that Vishwarupa. Why Vishwarupa? Why not transcendental consciousness? Because there is in transcendental consciousness there is non-duality. So the creator is the cosmic consciousness. That Vishwarupa, the Ishvara, he is the creator. Nantosti Maudibhyanam Vibhutanam Parantapa. Arjuna wanted to know what are the vibhutis, in which wherever there is expression of power, expression of joy. So of course he is there, because we can able to just recognize him there. So among Pandava, Arjuna, where we find the excellence. Wherever excellence is there, it is very easy to point it out. Wherever very dim light is there, of course, light is there also, and where, for example, 1000-watt bulb is there. So the light principle is also there also. But he is telling that Vibhuti means we can able to know it more there where 1000-power bulb is there. Otherwise, it is everywhere. So na anto asti maudibhyanam Vibhutinam parantapa is referring to Arjuna, that his Dibhya Vibhuti, it has no end. Infinite. Esa tu desada prapti vibhutir vistaramaya athava bhaunetena kingyatana tabarjuna vistabhyam idam krishnam ekangsena sito jagat. So he is telling what is the use of knowing all things, because there is no end to know his vibhuti. So what are in different rupa, in different forms, God is there. So he is telling that I am just pervading the whole world with one part of me, and three parts is something there. So with one part he has become the world. Tatrikastan Jagat Krishna Pravyaktam Anekada Apasya Devedesa Sarya Pandavasada. So Arjuna wanted, so first of all in 10th chapter, Bhagavan told theoretically that he is present in these things. And in 11th chapter, Arjuna wanted to see whether actually we want to see with our eyes. For example, whenever we are in spiritual life, we want to see God with our eyes. So though theoretically we may talk about that, okay, the consciousness everywhere, it cannot be reached by mind, intellect, anything else. But still, in heart, we want to see him with some form. So form is also there, and that is called the limited adjunct of that transcendental consciousness. So it is also required, because if you want to understand the transcendental consciousness, we must know that cosmic manifold consciousness. Now, for example, if you want to know light in the vacuum, we must know something, some reflecting medium first put in that one. For example, if you put moon there in the space, then we are seeing the light is reflected from there. Otherwise, we are not knowing the light is there. Some reflective medium when we put, then we know that it is there. Then remove that one. After that, we are knowing that light is there, though I am not seeing it. So intellectually, you know that one. So in 11th chapter, that Arjuna wanted to see that Vishwarupa of that Lord Sri Krishna is none other than that consciousness. Lord told that no, it is not possible to see me with this physical eye. I will give you some divine eye, that is the eye of the knowledge, with that you can able to see. And he saw that his Vishwarupa and the whole world, the physical world, the world of the gods and other beings, everything is seeing, but he cannot able to see that where is the Adi, Anta, and Madhya, where from it starts and where it is sustaining in the middle and where it ends. He is telling that Pasami Devas Tabadeva De Sarvas Bhuta Vises Sangha. So Sarva Bhuta is seeing that everything is there, as if that everything is embedded in that particular substratum that is called consciousness. Brahmanamisham, who creates this world, Brahma. And Rishi, and then the different type of divine snake, etc. is saying, Aneka Bahu Dravakta Netam, Pasamitam Sarvatanta Rupam, Nantam Namaddam Punastavadim, Pasami Vishweswara Vishwarupa. So he is seeing as a Bahudara, Bahu bellies, and that numerous bellies and numerous that mouth and and eyes, etc. So he is seeing like that. It is the Viswarupa, a special type of divine expression. So it is the Viswarupa in which we are part. We individual consciousness, we are part of that Viswarupa, like that. With the waves are part of ocean. So ocean is that, of course, ocean is also limited in a sense. For us, it is unlimited. But when you're telling that this is ocean, it has a name. Of course, it has a form. And wherever name and forms are there, that is the limitation. So Arjuna is seeing something that is more expanded consciousness as compared to his individual consciousness. And now we come to the individual consciousness, and that is called Jivatma. Jivatma is part of that cosmic consciousness. I told earlier that it appears in nature as living, embodied soul, and with its that mind and senses, it draws the mind and senses from that Prakriti. Mami Vangso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Lord is telling that. That Mami Vangsa Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Sanatana Jiva. Until unless you realize up to that you are Sanatana Jiva, and that Mana Sastani Indriyani Prakritistani Karsati. And when it comes to the world, it has to enjoy the world, and it is taking that mind, etc. Panchakosa, it is taking from the Prakriti. Prakritistani Karsati, it attracts to itself, and with that it creates its body, that conscious principle, that another limited adjunct. That means that cosmic consciousness become much more limited, become Jiva, and it is residing there. It is taking a separate identity with a separate mind, etc. And all those are from Prakriti only. Whatever you are seeing in this world, whatever you are telling, this one or that one, including your body, mind, your intellect, your Panchakosa, everything is Prakriti. And it is created by this consciousness itself when it is enters the particular body, and it is behaving as if it is different from the others. And the whole world affair starts. So it is that one transcendental consciousness, it is taking different upadhis. It is not that separate person. Transcendental consciousness is not different from the cosmic consciousness, not different from the individual consciousness. For example, a person is acting as a son or a father or a grandfather, something like that. These are the upadhis as respect to something else. So this consciousness, individual or cosmic or something else, that is in relation to something in Prakriti. So all are in a sense all are same, but their that acting part is different. For example, an actor, he is acting different roles in different cinema, but it's the same person. Like that transcendental consciousness, it appears, it has not become, because Advaita Vedanta, it does not become, it does not believe in transformation. It believes in Vivarta. In Vivarta Vada, it appears. For example, in a dim light, a rope is appearing as a snake. So it is the mistake of mind. Actually, the rope has not become the snake. Or you may think of that, a lump of gold. It is from that gold, some bracelet is made, some ring is made, or something that ornaments are made from it. So even when it takes a particular name and form, it remains as gold. But we don't see that gold part. We see that name and form part, that is the Prakriti part, we are able to see because our mind and senses are trained to look matter in that way. And we are deluded. But mind has the capacity. It's not that through this mind, we can't able to know Brahman. Manase Veda Vaptabhyam. Yan Manasa Namunate Yan Manomatam. It is told like that through this mind, you can't able to reach that Brahman. But Manase Veda Vaptabhyam. With that mind, you can reach. So which mind? So this is the pure mind. So the whole spiritual process is purify the mind. Otherwise, you cannot able to know Brahman. It will be simply just studying or telling something. But if you can able to just clean your chitta, then only you can able to know it. Then 5 minutes are there. Only 8 out of 20 to 8. Okay. So So he's there whether we are staying in the bodies or whether we are going from one body to another body after death. So it is a consciousness present there. And Sarvasya Cha Mriti Sannivishta Matta Smritirgana Apohanancha. So he is present in the heart, in the buddhi of everybody, and from him that jnana, knowledge, the smriti, memory, and apohanancha, the removal. You can think about the three states of our being. That jnana is the waking stage. We are having some knowledge, and the smriti stage is mainly operating in that our dream state, and apohanancha, that is the our supti stage, that dreamless sleep stage. So in every stage, that consciousness is staying as a sakshi, as a witness. So why there are variation in individual consciousness? Because due to guna. You will be telling that same consciousness is present in everybody. So why there are differences? Some people are very good people, some are bad. Everybody having their individuality. So why it is so? It is due to the three gunas. So in chapter 14, 17, and 18 also, Lord, in the last part of that Gita, so Bhagavan, Sri Krishna, Lord Sri Krishna talks about the guna, so how it is acting and how it is just changing the quality of antakarana. These gunas are changing the qualities of our antakarana, our perception, our thinking, our feeling, our willing, our decision, our knowledge, behavior. Everything is governed by the dynamics of three gunas. And that Sattaguna, from Sattaguna, wisdom arises, and the Sukha, pleasure arises, from Rajas, greed arises, and from Tamas, ignorance, miscomprehension, and delusion arises. As time is short, so we cannot able to discuss this. And that variation in individual consciousness, for example, we are having id, superego, ego, etc. In Gita also it is told that Dhayatu Visans Pungsa Sangasya Subhajayate, Sanga Sangite Kamaha, Kamat Krodha Vijayate, Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha, Sammoha Smriti Vibrama, Smriti Bangsa Buddhi Nasa, Buddhi Nasa Pranasati. So why we are just thinking more about that particular worldly things and getting attached to that one? Ultimately, we are deluded. We are starting with that Rajaguna and just stepping down to Tamaguna. And it destroys our intellect. Intellect means viveka, means discriminating power, the discernment power, which is right, which is wrong. And ultimately, we are just having spiritual death. Then in their sather agadase bhavasthita tarana vasama gacchit tavasya paripantu. Lord is telling, our super ego is telling that don't go to worldly objects, don't be attached. Otherwise, it is against your path of that consciousness, path which leads to consciousness. And Lord also talking about Daivi Sampada and Asuri Sampada, the divine qualities and that demonic qualities. If somebody acquires divine qualities, that is the product of Sattva-guna. So he will be expanding his consciousness. If somebody is just having that demonic qualities, so he will be more attached to Tamaguna and Rajaguna, and he cannot able to know consciousness. He will be only be knowing that names and form. He'll be knowing that I am the body. I am the prana, I am the mind. And so he will be more attached, and more attachment to Prakriti means more sorrow. And all that I sense, that I-ness, asmita, it is who is the karta? It is the guna. The intellect is the product of guna. And when Chidabhasa is reflected on the intellect, the ego is generated. And the ego is feeling. It is the karta, it is the bhokta. It is the doer, it is the enjoyer. And it is doing something and is enjoying something. So the karta we are feeling that I am doing something, this I-ness is no other than the guna itself. Because the pure consciousness is the non-doer. It is akarta avokta, non-doer, non-enjoyer. But it is when it is associated with the prakriti, the reflection is association. And then karta avokta is generated and it is false. In paramarthic sense, it is false. In Vyavaharika senses, in the phenomenal world, in the experiential world, it is true, it is real. But in paramarthika senses, in the absolute sense, it is wrong. Only transcendental consciousness is there, non-dual consciousness is there. So individual agency is there. So what is the causes behind any perception or actions? How our perception happens in this world? What are the causes? What are the steps? For example, we are seeing something. How the perception is generated in our body mind. So Lord is telling that Panchaitanya Mahabaho Karana Nivodame Sankhya Kritante Proktani Sarva Karmanam. अधिष्ठानं तथा कर्ता करणं च पृथक् विधं विविधास्य पृथक् चेष्टा दैवं चैवात्र पंचमम् शरीरभं मनोभिर्जत् कर्म प्रारभते नरः नैयं विपरीतं वा पंचैते तस्य हेतवः. So whatever physical work that we are talking something, or we are having some psychic chitta vrittis, etc., all are done by these 5 agents, causes. What is that? Is the adhisthana, the body, the seat of action, that the I sense, the ego, karta. Then karana. Karana is the senses, the mind. Senses are actually in the mind. And then vividasya prithak chesta. Chesta means that prana. And daiva means that is that inner ruler, or the God that is residing in a particular sense. So these are the 5 that karana, or if you think about the 5 kosha, these are nothing but the 5 kosha. The body is the annamaya kosha, and the ego is the vijnanamaya kosha, the senses are the manomaya kosha, prana is the pranamaya kosha, and daiva it is the anandamaya kosha. Because everything happening, daiva is nothing, daiva is there. Whatever you have done work, your prarabdha karma is just you acting as a daiva in your life. So these are the karana, causes behind any perception. So perception is happening due to prakriti. All these are prakriti. So consciousness simply giving the sentience to the prakriti. For example, a bulb will be red or green or white or yellow. It does not depend on the electricity. Electricity is same in all the appliances. But that red light or white light or something light, it is due to that particular that appliance, that bulb. That means the difference in the antakarana, it is due to prakriti. It is not nothing to do with that consciousness. Consciousness is similar in every way. It is homogeneous. There is no difference in consciousness. So creation and the role of consciousness. Consciousness is created by prakriti and purusha. And origin of consciousness, of course, somebody is there. What is the origin of consciousness? So non-dual consciousness, it does not have any origin. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit. It is told like that. But the cosmic consciousness is originated when that limited agent is created in the totality of our that intellect. That is called cosmic buddhi or mahat. When that purusha and prakriti comes together, and the individual consciousness is generated when avidya is there. Avidya, ignorance, personal level is there, and when avidya is there, then part of the consciousness, cosmic consciousness, is taking the shape of individual consciousness or jivatma. And what are the different aspects? We are just keeping that one. We don't have any time. So it pervades all animate or inanimate object. It's untouched by the action of the prakriti. It's very important. If somebody is dead, it does not mean that consciousness is dead. Consciousness is there. If moon is not there, it does not mean that light is not there. Light is of course there. Moon is just reflecting that. It is beyond prakriti and beyond the perception of the senses. And one consciousness is eliminating all beings. It is superior to prakriti, of course, and it is associated with prakriti to give rise to manifold world. It is everywhere, with or without adjuncts. With or without means with form and without, within form and without form also. It is untouched by the prakriti. In association with prakriti, it takes different. Why it is not moving? I'm talking, something is there. So it depends role at the same time. For example, the same person is acting as a father, as a grandfather, as a child, like that. Same consciousness, when he's associated with prakriti, it is acting different way. Even as individual, it's acting different way. It appears to be divided, but it is undivided. It is substitution for all being in every perishable thing, and it can only reveal things. That inert object, prakriti, it cannot reveal things. It requires the presence of consciousness. So in that way, it is superior also, and it is a master of prakriti. Consciousness is a master of prakriti. And it is a source of light of sun and other luminous object. Especially sun is there. Apart from that, our indriya also reveals things to us, our senses and that mind. So behind that, consciousness is there. And it manifests the function of the senses and organ. Wherever senses are there, you are just having some perception. in that perception also, in the chitta, in the pratyaya also, consciousness is there. So you don't have to go to find consciousness anywhere else. In your own thinking also, your thinking process is happening. You are knowing something. It proves that consciousness is there. So you have to know that it is immediate, is the most near yourself than any other objects of the Prakriti. It is untouched by the joy and sorrow of this body, and it is imperishable. Why don't you realize the transcendental consciousness? Because the deluding power of the Prakriti, ignorance. Transcendental consciousness is eternal subject, divide up any attribute. Cosmic consciousness and individual consciousness are pure and subtle. A pure and concentrated mind is required to experience them, and we are not having that pure mind, pure antakarana. Antakarana means that mind, intellect, that memory power, chitta, and that man, buddhi, chitta, and ahankara, that I sense. So it has to be purified, otherwise we can't able to know that transcendental consciousness. It is eternal subject. If we try to know it as object, we can never know it. So I will be coming afterwards how to know it. So how to know consciousness? It is another important point. So it is eternal subject. It cannot be objectified by the mind. If you're just meditating and to know consciousness, you can't able to know it. You can know some God or some part of your adhatma, your body mind, but you cannot able to know that consciousness. So how to know that? You have to become subject. So how to become subject? Because our mind has such a power that, for example, if some mirror is there, if some object is coming, immediately that image will form in the mirror. Our antakarana mind is also like that. So whenever mind is there, any object is coming, so it will take some vrittis, some pratyaya will be generated. So we have to annihilate the mind. That means chitta vritti nirodha should be there. And in that case, you are not objectifying something, because chitta vritti is not there. Then what is there? Tada drashya swarupe avasthanam. At that time, you will be knowing yourself. And sattva guna gives rise to knowledge. We know that sattva guna, and our antakarana is full of sattva, raja, tamas. So tama and raja should be reduced by karma yoga, bhakti yoga, dhyana yoga, and jnana yoga. These are the different yogas, main yogas that is there in Gita. In details, it is talked about. So you have to practice that one. The main aim is to purify the mind. Main aim is to concentrate the mind. Concentrate on what? Concentrate on very subtle thing, and that is the eternal subject. And we have to get rid of that mind. Then only you can become consciousness. By becoming consciousness, you can know consciousness. It is aparokshanubhuti. It is not mediated through mind or intellect. And for that, viveka is required. That is the jnana yoga. What is the inner prakriti and what is consciousness? By differentiating that one, jnana yoga process, Sravana Manana Nidhyasana, Aham Brahmasmi Mahavakya is there. By just thinking of you are that consciousness, asserting that one can know that consciousness. And how to use the knowledge of consciousness to solve the problem of life? We have to know the cause of the problem, that is ignorance. Arjuna also faces the same problem. He has to kill his relative, or relatives will kill him. In both ways, it was problem for him. But he has to perform his duty. For example, a judge, he has to punish his son for some heinous activity, but he has to do his duty like that. But Arjuna has some psychological problem, psychological breakdown. So at that time, Sri Krishna taught him about that the true nature of self. He told that you cannot able to kill self. Self is beyond the Prakriti, etc. Prakriti can act upon Prakriti. Prakriti cannot act upon that Purusha or consciousness. So what is the solution? So by asserting oneself as a consciousness, that is called Nidhyasana. I am that the transcendental consciousness. I am the master of the Prakriti, and from that fearlessness, strength, and knowledge will dawn upon a person, and he can solve any problem in his life. So this is a practical application. If somebody wants to know, if I gain the knowledge of consciousness, what will be its use in this life? So this is the use. All that strength, all that knowledge, all that fearlessness, all that Daivi power, it will come to that particular person. He can become one with that cosmic consciousness. And in cosmic consciousness, every power is there. Ishwar is having every power. And we are not differentiated. The adjunct is different. That limitation that makes us different from that cosmic consciousness and our individual consciousness. And if the limitation is removed, and who is causing this limitation? And that is that agyan or mind or sanskara. So when we purifying that one, we are becoming one with that cosmic consciousness. And when we are purifying mind, the quality of our consciousness, that relative consciousness, it is also that expanding or improving. Oh, it is the last. No, something is there. Oh, conclusion. So transcendental is non-dual imperishable consciousness is the eternal subject. It appears as cosmic consciousness or manifold individual consciousness when it is associated with the Prakriti. So there are not three levels of consciousness. There is only one non-dual consciousness, but it appears when this we call it as a divine lila of that God. So it will happen only when there is ignorance or Maya. Power is there, the Avarana Sakti and that the Bhikshepa Sakti of Maya is there. Then this whole affairs of the world will start. Consciousness is different from the inert Prakriti principle that we have learned. And that inert Prakriti principle means that is the mind, that Panchakosa, that mind, intellect, I sense, everything, whatever you are just designating as I, this one or that one. So all these are inert principle, and that is not consciousness. It pervades the Prakriti but untouched by the activities and changes and destruction. So it is there in our body, in our mind, in our intellect. Because if that is not there, then intellect will not work, mind will not work. Still it is different from that one. For example, the sun is different from the moon. The light of the sun is falling on the moon and it appears something else. Electricity, when it's attached to bulb, it is active. But electricity is different from the light or from the bulb. And if the bulb is destroyed, that electricity will remain. And nothing will be happen to the electricity. So if the body is destroyed, if the mind is destroyed, then also consciousness will be remaining. If moon is there, light is there. If moon is not there, then also light is there. Only thing is the perceiver is not there. The ego sense is not there. Then that cosmic consciousness is the master of the Prakriti, which creates, sustains and destroys the universe. We must know that who is behind this creation, because transcendental consciousness, it does not create. So he is creating, and we have to take help of some intermediate state before just reaching the transcendental the consciousness. In yoga, it is called Sampragata Samadhi. Is required before you are attaining the Sampragata Samadhi, in which you are having the transcendental realization. So cosmic consciousness, he is Iswara, he is a teacher, and he is the master of the Prakriti. If somebody reaches that state, he will be gaining all the vibhutis, all the divine powers, and all the knowledge also. And due to ignorance of the self, the individual consciousness suffer. Why you are suffering? Due to ignorance. Ignorance of what? Ignorance of our real nature. So in our life, we should try to remove the ignorance at every level. Bhagavad Gita offers a range of techniques of yoga to know the reality. We should not discuss this, we have not discussed it in detail. It's there in the book. Lots of techniques are given there. So it is a book, it is a popular book of spirituality. It is for everybody. At least somebody can practice karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, bhakti yoga, somebody else. Jnana yoga for the superior people who has that's cleared their mind and concentrated their mind. They can practice that jnana yoga part. But for the other people, they can practice karma yoga and bhakti yoga to clean their mind for chitta suddhi, and raja yoga for chitta ekagrata, for concentration of the mind. After that, they have to think that they are one with Brahman. The knowledge of supreme consciousness is the panacea of all problems of life, and it helps one to achieve the highest goal in life, that is liberation. So what is the highest gain from this knowing that consciousness? It gives us liberation, which is the last or charama goal. It is the highest goal of our human life, and that is liberation from the Prakriti, liberation from the guna, liberation from the sorrow. So time is not there, so I am concluding, and thanks for your patience, and thanks to Maharaj also.